How did Anthony Edwards go from an inefficient rookie on one of the worst teams in the league to one of the biggest playoff risers and a star, leading the Timberwolves to their best regular season in 20 years since the Kevin Garnett era? Ant is one of the best young stars in the league and is an amazing postseason performer, but how did we get to this point? Before Ant was tearing up some of the best teams on the biggest stage, he was playing at Georgia in 2019-20. He started off the season strong with 24 points in his debut and would average 19, 5, and 3 for the whole season. That would be good for the second most points across all SEC players and get him Conference Rookie of the Year and second team All-Conference. Unfortunately, the tournament was not played that season, and this was one of the least hyped up draft classes in recent memory. But with the first pick in the 2020 draft, the Timberwolves would end up taking Ant, a good scorer with defensive potential, and he would end up showing that immediately, just like college. He would average 15 points across his first 5 games, but there was some problems as he shot 42% from the field. That would be the story of the whole season as he continually got better and forced his way into the Rookie of the Year conversation, where he would place second with 15 of the 99 first place votes. Ant's commitment was notable though, as he did not miss a single game all year, one of just 11 players, and played the 11th most minutes with over 2,300 in a 72 game season. He was the only rookie that season to average over 19 points a game and the 7th most points per game by a rookie since 2012. He was already showing potential where he would later thrive, scoring 483 points off drives, 16th most in the entire league, and showed some flashes on defense. Though stuck in the LaMelo comparisons, it was clear he had star potential, and the next year he took a huge jump. Though inconsistency was a big issue, he provided fans with some of the most notable games that season, becoming the first player with 40 points, 9 boards, 3 blocks and steals, and 5 threes, and later would score a career high 49 against the Spurs. He would finish the year with 21.3 points and much improved defense while increasing his efficiency. He was one of just 6 players with 21 points and 1.5 steals and was a good defender, allowing a 0.84 points per possession in isolation in the top third of the league. Minnesota would make the play-in, and despite missing Cat, Ant would drop 30, including 10 in the fourth quarter to beat the Clippers and secure their first playoff appearance since 2018 with Jimmy Butler and second since 2004. And he would carry Minnesota there, averaging 25 points and shooting over 40% from 3, as the Timberwolves would force the second-seeded Grizzlies to 6 games and show just how good he can be in the playoffs. And though it did go to 6, this was one of the closest playoff series that year and definitely one of the most entertaining to fans. It felt like every game was going back and forth and is one of the more notable series with young stars Ja and Ant playing each other. I have to stop the video to ask, please subscribe because it would definitely help the channel a ton. I will also be making daily shorts on the NBA playoffs, so subscribe for that with notifications. Now back to the video. But his next season would be even better. Ant would play 79 games and finish with the second most minutes, which would result in 1,946 points, 6th most in the league above offensive stars like Nikola Jokic, Steph Curry, and Trae Young. Despite being in just his 3rd season, he would have the best shooting season of his career, bumping up to nearly 37% from 3, and would finish with career highs in points, assists, rebounds, steals, blocks, field goal, 3-point, and true shooting percentage, and PER. The 3rd-year jump was real, and it was huge. He was one of just 6 players and the youngest of the group to average 24 points, 5.5 rebounds, and 2.5 threes. Though still having some big off nights like 3 games in single digits, Edwards was way less inconsistent this season, helping that problem. And with differing point guards throughout the year in D'Lo and Mike Conley because of the trade deadline and Karl Anthony Towns missing a majority of the season, he gave Minnesota consistent guard minutes and led them to win 42 games and get another play-in appearance. And though the Wolves didn't necessarily have success this season, considering many people thought the Cat Gobert project didn't work and that they missed on a huge trade, and did make his first All-Star game, providing more hope for the young star. He had officially graduated from LaMelo talks by this time, and fans were viewing him as one of the most promising young players for the future, but Ant would completely disappear in the first play-in game, scoring just 9 points on 3 for 17 shooting, forcing the Wolves into a must-win game, and a flop of a postseason appearance would let many fans down and could hurt those expectations, but luckily he did the complete opposite. He would put up 11, 6, and 4 in just the first half as the Wolves pulled away from OKC despite missing Jaden McDaniels, as the Timberwolves made their 2nd consecutive playoff appearance. And though Minnesota was knocked out by the eventual champion Nuggets in 5, it provided more hope for Ant. He was one of the best players in the playoffs, averaging 31.6 points and averaged 35 in the final 4 games. He shot at an efficient 48% rate and got to the line very well, and played amazing defense. And despite the loss, playoff Ant was a thing, and with a full offseason with this new core, the Timberwolves would need to capitalize next season, and they did, as the Timberwolves Timberwolves opened up hot and didn't slow down all year, finishing with 56 wins, second most in franchise history. Edwards would take another leap this year, finishing with 25.9 points per game and missed just 3 games all season, which put Ant at over 2,000 points scored for the first time in his career. Ant specialized in isolation, scoring 4.1 points per game, and was one of just 10 players to reach that mark, and went into isolation possessions 4.5 times a game. Was also a very good defender in isolation, allowing just a 10% field goal percentage on 37 defensive possessions. The third best points per possession among all qualified players, coming just a year after ranking below average in that same statistic. Edwards improved as a playmaker, ranking around the 75th percentile in the pick and roll, and though he does have troubles with playmaking and ball handling when doubled, when the pressure is alleviated off of him, it allows him to thrive in a playmaking role. He's also one of the best at getting to the rim, with the 6th most points per game at shooting at a 73.1% rate on drives. He is shown to be one of the most capable scorers with an all-around game, can pick his spots and get to the rim at ease, and alongside a high IQ and drive, it makes him a great playoff player. That is the build for guys who step up in the playoffs, and with him being such a high level scorer and able to get to his spots, you really cannot stop him. When you have other guys that can create or score on the floor, especially like a Karl-Anthony Towns, that alleviates some pressure, and when he's single teamed, it really does not matter who the defender is. He can beat anyone off the dribble and is smart enough to play make from inside. Minnesota would end up on the losing side with 3-way 1 seed battle, but would take the 3rd seed and get matched up against the Phoenix Suns. While this video is being recorded after only game 1, it is clear playoff Ant is here to stay. Throughout his career, he has shot 48% from the field with 28.5 points per game in the 12 playoff appearances, compared to 44.6% and 22.9 points in regular season games. Ant has that big game feel around him, and it factor that you cannot show in stats or metrics, but when you watch that type of player, you can feel it. Ant has shown time and time again that he doesn't care if it's a big moment, he's going to perform. He's not scared. He chirped Kevin Durant going down the court when KD was one of his favorite players growing up. Bruce Brown even called the Wolves the toughest team to play in that title push. He's legit one of the scariest players to play against. He doesn't care who's defending him. He doesn't care who he's playing against. He's going to get buckets, and you cannot stop him. The players that step up and are excited for the big moments have that sense that they will win. We have seen it before in greats like MJ, Kobe, LeBron, and right now some players like Luka Doncic and what seems to probably be Wembanyama. But Ant is right there. Among players with 12 or more playoff games, just 5 players rank higher in points per game: Michael Jordan, Luka Doncic, Allen Iverson, Kevin Durant, and Jerry West. All-time greats or players that will be all-time greats like Luka Doncic. What's crazy is Ant is just 22 years old. He has played just 12 playoff games, yet he ranks 4th in Timberwolves playoff points, and in either game 2 or 3 will jump to 2nd on that list. Ant is special, and even if he's not a top 10 player right now, he's clearly on that path and will be a superstar and Timberwolves legend in a few years.